Who is the strongest player on Unstable SMP? If you ask most people, they'll immediately say Marlo. She's ranked number 1 on the MCTS PvP rankings. She dethroned It's Real Me, who was the previous number 1. She guards the Mafia tomb and kills literally everyone who tries to enter it. The answer seems obvious, right? But what if I told you she's not even close to being the strongest? So here's my theory, and I believe there's a strong chance this is gonna blow your mind. The strongest player on Unstable SMP isn't Marlo, it isn't It's Real Me, it isn't even True Original with his reality warping admin powers. But before I tell you who the actual strongest player is, consider subscribing and dropping a like on the video if you enjoy. Now, let me explain why this makes perfect sense when you really think about what strength means on this server. First, let's talk about the obvious candidates and why they are not actually the strongest. Marlo is number 1 in PvP rankings worldwide. She has mastered every form of combat, sword, mace, crystal, everything. She's better at Elytra mace combat than even wemmbu, and that's saying something. She has this insane blindness teleportation ability where everyone goes blind when she arrives. And when the blindness fades, she's just standing there ready to kill you. The heartbeat audio speeds up before she appears. She's absolutely terrifying. And crossing paths with her is basically a death wish. But here's the thing, Marlo has been defeated before. Not in direct combat, sure, but she can be escaped from. Parrot, Coin Monkey, and Teal managed to flee from her. She followed them to the end station and killed everyone there. But the fact that they got away at all shows she's not invincible. She's the best fighter, absolutely, but strongest overall, that's a different question. Now let's look at It's Real Me. The guy is ranked number 2 in the entire world, formerly number 1 before Marlo dethroned him. He mastered mace combat, sword combat, crystal PvP. He can handle literally any situation thrown at him. He reached elite tier without needing special abilities. No gimmicks, no supernatural powers, just the zone. But again, It's Real Me is limited to combat situations. Put him in a strategic scenario where fighting isn't the answer and his strength diminishes significantly. He's incredibly dangerous in a 1v1 or even 1v100. But can he control an entire server? Can he manipulate thousands of players into doing his bidding? Not really. Then there's True Original, and honestly this is where it gets interesting. The guy has light speed movement, terrain manipulation, inventory wiping, player teleportation, cloning, disguise abilities, time manipulation, enhanced projectiles, and so much more. He can clear your inventory instantly, shoot you with super arrows from unlimited range, duplicate himself, and teleport away from any attack. He's basically a god in terms of raw abilities. But here's the crazy part. True Original died. He was killed by Parrot and Newfully using an invisible orbital strike cannon. It was something nobody could have survived except one person, and that person was the director. The attack worked because it was invisible, so True Original couldn't teleport away. Despite all his powers, he was vulnerable to creative strategy. Someone outsmarted him, and that's the key to understanding true strength on the server. Now let's talk about the director, and this is where everything comes together. The director is described as potentially the most intelligent player on the entire server. The guy can calculate every action and consequence from miles away. He can counter any attack before it happens. He cannot be tricked or deceived. He knows everyone's weaknesses. He has perfect strategic prediction. Think about what that actually means. The director doesn't need to be the best PvPer because he's already predicted what you're gonna do and countered it before you even start. Marlo can teleport to you and kill you? The director already knew you were coming and set up a trap. It's Real Me is gonna 1v1 you with perfect technique? The director bribed him before the fight even started or threatened someone he cares about. True Original is gonna use reality manipulation? The director put him into an illusion first or manipulated someone he trusts to betray him. The director's resources are listed as endless or infinite, not because he's the richest in terms of materials stored in chests, but because he can acquire anything needed for his plans. He literally writes his own story according to the profile. He uses information as power. Let's look at his confirmed abilities. He can put players into illusions, that's mind control or perception manipulation. He controls outcomes through perfect prediction. His information gathering and analysis capabilities are unmatched. The guy shaped major server events just by thinking ahead of everyone else. I also want to add that the director is a Harvard student in real life, which just makes it so much better. Now you might be thinking, wait, didn't the director lose? Didn't that disqualify him from being the strongest? Great question. Yes, the director was defeated, but here's the thing, he lost because the closest person to him turned out to be his greatest weakness. Someone he trusted or cared about betrayed him or was used against him. Think about that for a second. The only way to defeat the director wasn't through combat, wasn't through exploits, wasn't through admin powers. It was through exploiting his emotional attachment to someone. That's actually insane when you think about it. The fact that the only weakness they could find was getting to someone he cared about means everything else about him was basically unbeatable. Despite this single downfall, he was powerful enough to control other top players. He could get anyone to work with him beyond just threatening them. He wielded enormous influence over server politics. His mind alone guaranteed victory in virtually every scenario except the one time someone exploited his emotions. Let me put this in perspective. Marlow can kill you in a 1v1. The director prevents the 1v1 from ever happening by manipulating the circumstances so you never even get close to him. It's real me can beat you in any combat scenario. The director changes the scenario so combat isn't an option. True Original can warp reality. The director puts him in an illusion before he gets the chance or manipulates someone True Original trusts to sabotage him. This is what true strength looks like on Unstable SMP. It's about who shapes the narrative, who pulls the strings, who makes other players dance like puppets without them even realizing it. Look at the Invisible Mafia as a comparison. Ash Swag commanded hundreds of thousands of members. He had the best players under his command. He could kill anyone, torture anyone. Nobody was safe from the Mafia. That's incredible power, but the director operated on a different level entirely. The director didn't need an army of hundreds of thousands because he could manipulate the armies that already existed. He didn't need to personally threaten anyone because he knew exactly what threats would work and who to deliver them. And here's something else that you might not have noticed. The only person who could theoretically survive the invisible orbital strike cannon that killed True Original was the director. That means the director has some form of ultimate defense that transcends even reality manipulation. Possibly through prediction, he would have known the attack was coming and moved before it fired. Now let me address the counter argument that since the director was defeated, he can't be the strongest. But here's the thing, we don't actually know if the director is truly defeated or just in hiding. What if his defeat was part of a larger plan? What if he wanted people to think he was gone so he could operate more freely? In fact, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I'll make a dedicated video on the director. The director's power philosophy is that he doesn't need special abilities or supernatural powers. His mind alone guarantees victory, and historically on servers like this, the smartest players end up controlling everything regardless of combat ability. Look at Spoke early on. He wasn't good at PvP, but his exploits and manipulation made him incredibly powerful. The director is basically Spoke taken to the absolute extreme. Think about the practical implications. If you're Marlow and you want to kill someone, you have to actually find them and fight them. If you're the director and you want someone dead, you manipulate circumstances so they walk into a trap, or you turn their allies against them, or you bribe someone else to do it, or you put them in an illusion where they think they're safe until it's too late. You have infinite options, and your opponent doesn't even know you're the one orchestrating it. The director shaped major server events from the shadows. We don't even know the full extent of what he did because that's how good he was at controlling information. The fact that we are still asking questions about who he was and what his connection to Marlow was months later show his influence is still being felt. So yeah, that's my theory. The strongest player on Unstable SMP isn't the #1 ranked PvPer. It isn't the hacker, it's the director. The player who doesn't need to fight because he's already won before the fight begins. The player who controls the server through pure intelligence and strategic prediction. The player whose only weakness was caring about someone, which actually makes him more human and more dangerous at the same time. Marlow is the deadliest. Its real me is the most skilled. True Original is the most powerful in terms of raw abilities. But the Director is the strongest because strength on unstable SMP isn't about who can kill the most people, it's about who controls the board, and the Director controls it. I could be totally wrong about this, but based on everything we know about how power actually works on the server, I believe the Director represents true strength in a way that pure combat ability never could. Anyways, that's my theory. What do you guys think? Do you believe the Director is actually the strongest, or is raw PvP ability more important than strategic control? Could there be someone else we haven't even considered? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe and drop a like on the video. Click the video up on screen right now and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!